Another one that I noticed, because I know you are a extrovert, right?
Hmm.
Do you know your Myers Briggs personality score?
Yes, it's ESTP, but personally, I think it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit, right? I mean, I agree. I don't take that shit seriously, but a lot of girls do. And every now and then, some girls, it could either be a horoscope thing or some girls will actually ask you to take the personality exam. Now, if they're an, let's say, an INFP or ISTJ, whatever, and they find out you begin with an E, for a lot of them, they're scared of that. And they'll call it off. They're like, oh, no, no, this is one of those very strong willed folks. He's just going to ragdoll me in the relationship. So I've actually heard of that before, where a lot of girls will call it off after they don't like your personality exam.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that personality exam has some semblance of truth, which I'm not sure if it does, but if it does, then it's still a reasonable thing to reject someone for, assuming that personality test is correct. If your personalities are incompatible, that makes sense. But the whole horoscope thing is bullshit.
Mhm.
I know this guy who memorized the horoscope table. Like, this is compatible with this. This is compatible with this, and now he just asks the girl, "What's your horoscope?" and then tells them his is the most compatible. Gets played a lot, by the way.
Does he? The stars say that you will g- give me some. Did you ever do one of those tarot card readings?
No, are you crazy? I don't have that kind of money.
No, man. Some girls just know it. And there was this one girl that one time she's just like, I want to read you. I was like, okay. So she started pulling out these cards, and she just like put your energy in this necklace. I'm like, put my energy. I mean, this can be taken in a lot of ways. You got to clarify this for me. She's like, just touch it. I'm like over here touching it, man. And she's reading my horoscopes or whatever
Wait,
the tarot card reading
question:
is.
where was that necklace placed?
I don't know. She just put it in my hand and then she did something with it.
Oh,
What?
okay, okay.
Do you
I
know
thought
much
she was
about
wearing
this?
the necklace. No, I'm like,
No,
she's
no, no.
wearing the
She
necklace.
no.
Touch
It
it, touch
wasn't.
here,
It
touch
wasn't
left,
even.
touch right.
uh, she gave me. It wasn't even a necklace. It was like a pearl with a string around it, which looked like a necklace. She's like, put your energy in this. I was like, okay. And then she starts doing all these card readings. Man, bro, certain things spooked me the hell out. And I was just like, wait a minute, how the hell did you know that? How'd you know that? And she just like gave me that look like, and I was I was so spooked out. I'm like, girl, you gotta you get away from me. Are you some sort of witch or something? But she knew a lot of this stuff. But then later on, I told my boys about the experience. And they're like, oh yeah, bro. They'll just get a rough idea of something that could be accurate, and once they see your face light up, they'll double down on that. And I was like, ah, okay. But that day, man, that reading was somewhat spooky. So you've never done anything like that. I thought it was very. I mean, I could be wrong, but aren't a lot of folks doing horoscopes and stuff in certain pockets of India?
Yes, there's a lot of money making money out of low IQs and retards. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone ever just say, "Harsh, let me read your palm"?
Oh yeah, my palms. They've tried to read it. I
Did you
tell
let
them
them?
that my palms only say I have a big dick, very educated, extremely rich.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, I've let them read it, but it's just like a bunch of fun type of stuff. For example, when you go out on a date
mhm.
and the girl is like, "Show me your palm," it's just for fun. No one's reading it seriously. You take her palm and then you start making predictions, and you just try to be funny, right? So
Right.
this line means that you're gonna grow 6 inches taller next year,
Mhm.
or you're gonna have a tall, handsome husband that looks like me.
Mhm. You could
You
turn
try to
this into a flirting
sexualize it.
motion. Mhm.
It's basically for flirting. Yes, that's how I've used it. But show me your palm. That you get to touch her hands, and then you can, start turning the conversation a bit more sexual.
The life math money game.
It's stuff that I've figured out works with a certain type of women.
Mhm.
Not all girls are receptive to this type of stuff, but many of them are. And it's a pretty simple thing, to break the touch barrier and everything.
Do you have a certain type?
I like girls who are very caring, kind, and very feminine in a way. I don't like loudmouth girls. I don't like girls who try to fight over everything. For example, I went out with this girl, and this is what happened. I'm not even joking. Okay, this is a completely true story. This is a girl I kind of got introduced to with a friend of mine, and I'm speaking with her, and she not only picked the restaurant, she made the reservations, she picked which table we're gonna sit at,
Oh, dang.
and she picked the food we're gonna eat. I'm like, the fuck is up here?
She pulled out the chair for you.
I'm like, what are you doing?
You were like the woman in the date.
I was like the woman in the date, but I didn't enjoy that date.
Do you think she was just being caring, or do you think she was trying to strong arm you?
I don't think she was trying to do either. I think she was just too masculine,
Hmm.
where she thought it's completely okay to pick a restaurant that is like 30 minutes away from my house, but only 5 minutes away from her,
Hmm.
then pick the food and everything. And it was just like a weird experience for me. But this was back in the day where I did not have that much experience myself. Nowadays, you try to pull that, I would just not agree to come to a place that far away when it's so close to you. Now I do the
Oh.
opposite thing. Like I was telling you earlier, right? I typically do first dates at a place near my house.
Right, and you show up late to make it seem like you live far away.
I don't show up late intentionally. Sometimes what happens is I have things show up with work and I end up getting late. Of course, it's always awkward, when the girl has come like 30, 40 minutes to this place and you live 2 minutes away.
Man, you make her drive that far?
I'm worth it.
That actually shows that there's high interest there, where sometimes you'll ask the person, "Hey, are you down to meet here?" And she'll just say yes. And then later on, you guys are in the date, and you'll ask, "Well, where did you come from?" She's like, Riverview." Like, Riverview? That's like 45 minutes away. She's like, "Hee hee," which is that I just wanted to see you, and that's a green flag. Uh, and hopefully the date goes well. But so you guys eat at that first date. And if it goes well, you guys go to, is it a plaza where you could do different things?
It's near my house, and well, then if it goes well, I might just invite her to where I stay, have some fun, or we might just get something to drink or whatever. Not exactly alcohol, but these ice creamy drinks.
Yeah,
See, there's a trick. I'm going to teach you a trick where if you want a girl to be more comfortable with you, take her out to three places in your first date.
bro,
It makes them
that's what I do.
it makes them think that they've known you for a while because in their head the memories are going to be okay. So I have been with Harsh to a restaurant, to this dinner cafe, and to this place as well, and to the garden, and whatever, wherever. I must have known him for a long time,
Right, right.
so I shouldn't be shy with him.
Hmm. This is one of those situations. Remember, we were talking about hookah before.
Hmm.
Hookah is one of those places where it could be the best date of your life or the worst date of your life. It could be the best date if you guys just go, and let's say you're a hookah smoker, she's a hookah smoker. There's always a vibe there because the lighting is set up for you. There's some chill music. Different folks are often social. You may know certain folks, so they'll talk you up. So that part, it could be the best. But let's say it's going a little too well, and now you guys are going back to your crib. That's when it could be one of the worst dates of your life, because hookah, it restricts blood flow down there. So you're not going to be able to get it up if you're smoking a bunch of hookah. So you gotta
Oh, is
be
it?
right, right. So you gotta be very careful if you're one of these hookah smokers.
What is your first date strategy? What do you do?
Man, coffee, coffee or ice cream, something very light. And nowadays, nowadays there's actually a movement where some girls, like, they'll say, if he's not gonna take you out to a dinner, if he's gonna even suggest coffee for the first one, ghost him, which is a movement nowadays. Like, did you hear about that?
I do not, but I understand.
Right. But my thing is, look, I want to make sure that there's some chemistry. And overall, like, most girls, like, don't let these movements fool you. This isn't a depiction of reality. Most girls actually love coffee dates because they're like, okay, now it's an informal situation. I could let my guard down. I could have some fun. We're getting some caffeine. It's going to be a fun vibe. So the coffee house I go to, it could be, one's a corporate one, but one's like a legitimate coffee house where I know the guy because this used to be around during my undergrad, and he still works there. He still owns it. So it's he always throws in extra treats and such. So I'll do that, and then afterwards, if it's going well, there's a pizza spot right by, and it's a very quick bite. It's not one of those where you're full. And then afterwards, I mean, that the third one really depends on how the date is going, right? Sometimes I could see that the girl, she's really into movies. She's like, I really want to watch the new Toy Story movie. I'm like, well, we can. I mean, there's a movie theater right here. And then other times she's just like, I really just want to go sightseeing. And there's this butterflies garden where you can see a bunch of butterflies around my area. So we could just do that. But normally for the first time meeting, I don't try to go to the three spots unless it's a vibe. Otherwise, I'll just do coffee and then we'll plan something else next time if we plan something else next time.
That makes complete sense to me.
Hmm.
I've heard in your country going out to a restaurant is actually expensive, is it not?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the restaurant too, because some give the vibe of it being fancy, but it's not that expensive. Like certain Mexican spots, if you go, it looks very fancy, but you could get a nice meal for $15 for yourself and another $15 for your date. You spend $30, you tip, and you leave spending less than $50.
Yeah, that is considered an expensive meal where I'm from.
But you want to make sure you're not a foodie call. You know what that is?
I'm gonna guess that it's where the girl is using you for free food.
Right.
Huh.
Like a booty call is when it's someone you're using another
I get
person just
you.
to have sex. Yeah. So some
Booty
girls have
call.
like foodie calls like all days of the week. I've seen a viral video of that once. Like Matt is Monday's foodie call, Jake is Tuesday's foodie call. I'm like, what a broke thing to do. You are such a broke person if that's what you do to get a meal.
See, if you're a guy and you go out with a girl 3, 4 times and you can't even get a kiss out of her, or just move on, bro. She's not interested.
Right.
Personally, 3, 4 times is a bit too much nowadays. Like you can do it in like 3 dates, 2 dates.
Right. Yeah, and you always got to know what season you're in. Are you in like the hookup season or are you trying to find someone serious season? And that's when your strategies need to evolve with you. Or you don't want to be applying straight up negging all the time if you're trying to see that hypothetically, let's say this girl, there's already a vibe there. You don't want to ruin it. You want to do some banter, of course, but you got to really know which season you're in.
Man, negging is one of those things where I wouldn't recommend it unless you already have some experience. And I
Hmm.
know because so this was back when I was like 18 years old or some many years ago. There's a girl who I know, and this girl at that time was maybe 26, 24, maybe 24. And for some reason, she looks much older than she is. She looks like she's 30. And I'm not even joking. I don't even know what I was thinking.
It's a little subtle jab and then
I think I'm negging. I'm like, you look like you're 30. And she
Whoa.
still hates me. It's been like almost a decade. It's been almost a decade, and she still hates me.
Man, that's a mean neck too, bro. That's like
I
calling
was
a girl
just.
fat.
Oh, I've done that a lot of times. I've done
Oh
that a
no,
lot.
man. See, with negging, I mean, the way that I see it is like you kind of look like my sister, or you remind me of my mom. And then it's just like, wait, what? What does he think of me as? And now you created some band. I don't really like the word negging too much because it actually leads with a negative perception. I like the phrase banter more, where you joke with them a little. Here's a funny banter situation I can give you.
By
So,
the way, I've
mhm,
never had any problems with calling girls fat. I've dated a lot of girls who were not actually fat,
mhm.
but maybe they were having a bloated day, and I just call them, "Hey, you look fat today," and they'd be like, "What?" But they would get over it.
Okay, the delivery matters, but most of you guys listening to this, if you guys don't have the delivery, I don't know if because the way you said it right now, I'm like there's charm infused in it. But some guys they don't have any charm. They'll say, "Hey, you're looking fat today." What? I said the same words Harsh did. It's like it's your delivery, fam.
Yeah, you got to be like in a cheerful mood and be, what's the word for it? Be lighthearted. If you
You gotta
say
be
serious
lighthearted.
shit, anything you say, hey, I think of you like you're like my sister. You are like my sister. that is something that would be taken seriously. Like, whoa, okay, why would you say that? But you're like, hey, you're like my sister, man.
Man, they literally made an Everybody Loves Raymond episode after what you're saying. So the main character is Ray, and one day his friends are over, and he's just calling his wife a bunch of random stuff. He's just like, "Hey, Piglet, hey, Tubby," just as a joke, sort of like you are. The friends are like, "Wait a minute, man, you're kind of insulting her." And then Ray's like, "No, if I do it in a cute voice, I could call her anything that I want." And the friends are like, "Well, um, call her like what's that word? Skank. Call her a smelly skank and say it in a cute voice. All right. So Ray's like, trust me, it'll work. So he's like, hey, my smelly little skank. And she got so mad. And that was like the gist of the episode. She's like, what did you just call me? So it's like sometimes you're pushing your luck, and then it could be enough where she just like, nah, that you just hurt my feelings.
See, the thing is that if you are married to someone or dating someone seriously, and then you're doing this type of stuff, then you have certain risk, right? If the girl gets pissed off or you see something that actually hurts her a lot, you have to face the consequences. You call a random date fat, she doesn't like it, she leaves. Well, so what? Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a girl who wouldn't have been around for quite a while anyway.
Right.
So you have to know what situation you're in and how much this girl means to you.
Did you have a very bad date story where you're just like, man, never again? Or you've already told me a couple. Were
Nothing
those the bad
really
ones?
bad.
Okay,
This
so
this
nothing bad.
particular one where I had to travel a lot and then come back. It took me like 45 minutes. I'm like, I wasted 2 hours, 3 hours on this date. Why would I do that? What kind of stupid ass idiot I am that I did this? I could have done
Right.
so much in these 3 hours. But I'm telling you, I've I have a weird personality when it comes to productivity where even though I enjoy going out, it makes me feel a certain amount of guilt when I spend too much time on fun. For example, I told you, right, when this was one of my first times and I'm out with this girl, the date takes like 3, 4 hours, then we go to her apartment, we have fun, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, this is fun, but I just spent 4 or 5 hours on this. I could have done so much stuff in that time. This is not
Mm-hmm.
as good as I thought it would be.
Okay. See that could see that mindset being good and bad too. It's good because you're getting productivity out of the way. It could be bad because it sometimes takes you out of the present.
It does, it does. It lets you not enjoy certain things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm not even joking. It's like for most guys, the first time they're doing something like that, it's like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with me?
Yeah,
I would
dude.
rather.
And that could be another one of your red flags where you may, in relationship dynamics, you may lack the spontaneity, which a lot of girls want because your business is spontaneity. You're doing so much different things where it's like you want some stability in one part of your life. So that could be one of those things that is like, oh, man, it's a red flag.
I don't think I'm not spontaneous. I've never heard a girl complain about that.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is,
I see what you're saying. It's hard to, bro. Me and you are cut from the same cloth. That's literally me. Where sometimes I'll be having a fun time. I'm at the beach. I'm like, man, I could have been doing X, Y, and Z. So the beach better be really fun. If it's even a little non-fun, then my mind goes back to how many hours am I wasting?
it's something I need to learn to calm down with. But who knows, man? Maybe it'll happen eventually. I remember telling some of my more richer friends about this. Like, have you guys have had similar experiences? And they're like, don't worry about it, bro. As you get older, it's gonna like tone down.
Hmm.
Apparently, if you are an ambitious 20 something, this is a normal experience to be going through. So I don't overthink it.
Well, it's good that you put that into words because I'm pretty sure a lot of folks that listen to these episodes, whenever we're putting certain ambiguous things into words, they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, I have the same thing happen to me." So it's good that you put it uh, that experience out there because I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but they think something's wrong with them. They're like, "Man, is something wrong with me? How come I can't have fun like that?" But you just said it.
Yeah, I think that really helps a lot of people. I would agree with that. In fact, I've had like the other side where I'm listening to someone who is writing, like I'm listening to a writer or somebody, and they're talking about an experience. And for some time, I used to think I'm weird for being the only person who thinks this way. And then I'm like, wait a minute, there are more people like me out there.
Mm-hmm.